The Fantasy Footballer Studio is sponsored by Walmart. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Tuesday, August 19th, the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Jason Moore, Mike Wright, I'm Andy Holloway. Welcome one and all. Preseason week 2 officially over. And it's a big time show. We've got a huge announcement on the show, something a lot of you have been asking about.
I don't know what you mean.
So we'll get to that momentarily. We have undrafted gems on the show, some NFL news to talk about, and it's a Breakouts episode. So we're each going to mention. Did you growl again?
No, that wasn't me. Did you growl, Mike?
No.
Okay.
It might have been.
All right, go ahead. I mean,
MEGALABOWL! It's time, baby. The MEGALABOWL has done launched. We are
launched. Yeah,
we has done launched this thing. The MEGALABOWL is the most fun, biggest fantasy football tournament in the world. You can go to megalabowl.com to get all the information, but basically you're going to play in a totally normal league, just like how we set up our main league of record other than the keeper system. Same scoring, playing against median, same roster construction, half PPR, and you're going to play against other Foot Clan members in your 12-team leagues is going to be awesome. But here's the thing. There's 20,000 people playing in the MEGALABOWL. And so at the end of the season, when you get in the playoffs, you're playing against a ton of people. You got to make the top half. And then you got to make the top half again, and then you got to be the highest score to take down the MEGALABOWL, say and prove that you are the best fantasy football player of the year. And if you win, you will automatically be in the listener league with us next year. So if you're not sure, like we're still waiting to get back to all the entries. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your listener league entries. We are a smidge behind on getting through all those, but we're working hard on them, and thank you. If you don't get in, just go win the MEGALABOWL. It's so easy.
we're also going to give you, I think the winner gets a UDK for life as well.
Whew.
I'm looking at the draft times. We've got, you want to go right now. You want to pick your draft time. Megalabowl.com. We've got a couple Saturday drafts, a couple Sunday drafts, a couple Monday, Tuesday, and then the final draft will be Wednesday, September 3rd in the morning before the season begins. If you are a supporter of the show, there are 35,000 of you out there. You all get a free entry into the MEGALABOWL, so you don't have to do much. Just go to megalabowl.com, click the button, join one of the draft queues, get placed in one of the leagues, and you'll be part of the largest, most fun fantasy football league on the planet. And, to my knowledge, one of the only shark-themed leagues.
I think it's the only MEGALABOWL shark-themed, shark-themed fantasy league in the universe.
I feel like calling a megalodon a shark is not fair to. It's not paying real honor to the megalodon.
You're saying,
okay.
but it was a shark.
What if it's king shark?
Okay,
now it's a little bit more honorable.
That's better.
Okay, king
it's
shark,
the biggest of all sharks.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. So yeah, check
Is
that
there
out.
a chance there are still some like that we don't know about
in the ocean right now? 1,000%. Because have you ever been down there?
We don't know.
I don't know what's going on
down there. I've
down
never been down there.
Yeah, to the bottom.
To the bottom.
I don't think so.
Could they be swimming down in the deeps?
Like, the only one who knows for sure is James Cameron.
Yeah.
Don't they get bigger the farther down you go? Isn't that where the big squids, aren't the big squids way down deep?
They are. Yeah, those are. But you know the anglerfish? The terrifying monsters that have the lights and they're actually very tiny.
They're small.
Yeah.
They're not that scary.
Well, when you
zoom
in,
a clownfish.
Yeah, you zoom into the face. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are scientists. Some Bill Nyes over here. Megalabowl.com. Head over there. Like I said, if you are a supporter of the show, you already have an entry. One of the things you can do, if you are somebody that purchased the Ultimate Draft Kit, and we should mention this, we give you a dollar for dollar credit for the Ultimate Draft Kit purchase, whether you bought it yesterday or back in February. If you would like to become an Ultimate Foot Clan member, that is the top tier of our membership at jointhefoot.com. It gives you everything. You get the UDK every year, the DFS Pass, Draft Analyzer, in-season app, all the tools and resources, the Dynasty Pass. You get 100% of everything, and we just give you a dollar for dollar credit from your UDK towards that if you want to upgrade to the Ultimate tier.
Did you mention the extra episode every week?
And there's an extra episode every week. There's a lot of perks.
Literally every single thing.
Megala perks.
Every single thing that we offer. There's no other thing to add on ever if you are an Ultimate Foot Clan member at jointhefoot.com. It's the easiest way. It's a Chipotle burrito a month, and you get everything we do forever.
All right. We better get into it. We got a lot to talk about.
Undrafted Gems, presented by Walmart.
All right, during this month leading up to kickoff in the NFL, we're identifying some late-round undrafted players to keep an eye on as training camp and preseason rolls on. Every week, we bring up a different name that we're paying attention to. In case you're curious, it's Undrafted Gems, GEM. Mm-hmm. It's not like just players named Jim.
Right.
That have not been drafted.
So small. Or the location.
Right.
Get your pump on.
Yeah.
Oh, Undrafted Gems. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Lifetime, Mountainside.
I needed to work through
Andy's face is like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
We often don't know your references, Mike, so we're used to
I'm
just
always afraid you're trying
through.
to connect too many dots.
No, just GYM,
Nope,
regular word.
No, I know.
It's also not the popular female band.
Oh, Gem, yeah. Truly outrageous.
Thank you, Mike. Let's talk some fantasy football players.
My undrafted target here at tight end. It's Mason Taylor.
My brain's trying to find another Jim reference.
Don't do it. Mason Taylor, rookie tight end for the New York Jets. He is 21 years old. He is not being drafted. He's down at tight end 22 right now. This is going to be one of those players that I think ends up a waiver wire pickup really, really fast. He's going to play all the snaps. Tyler Conklin vacates 72 targets. I know we don't like Justin Fields, the passer, but you go beyond Garrett Wilson, and what are you left with? Is it, Breece Hall out of the backfield?
Correct. ...
I mean,
Josh Reynolds is the clear cut. It's been confirmed that he is the clear number 2 wide receiver here. And just think about what I said. Josh Reynolds is
right.
Your next best option.
Look, Mason Taylor's good. He's a really, really good player, and people need to pay attention to him. And so for me, that is one of those players, if you're going to end up streaming tight ends, or you have a tight end injury that happens, or you just want to throw somebody at the back of your bench right before Sunday morning when the Jets play, and you just want to see what 90 to 100% of snaps looks like for Mason Taylor on this offense. You talk about Justin Fields likes to check the ball down. Well, tight ends are very good for that as well.
He was. Did you say he was a second-round pick?
I mean, no, I didn't mention it, but he's a second-round pick.
Like, we love Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren for good reason. But Mason Taylor went in the second. I wish he had the dog.
You don't think he has the dog?
Oh, no, I know he doesn't. He's been through the machine, and there is nothing in there but just a tiny little kitty cat.
That's a dog debate.
Go watch the tape.
So here's
meow.
I'm in the middle between you guys.
Meowson Taylor.
I agree that he's not like your Ben Sinnott type of guy that's looking to deliver the pain and run over
he's
guys
not like
every
a
single
third
play.
string tight end. Got it.
But he is a very good player. He's son of a Hall of Famer. He's a pro as a rookie. So I really like the bringing Meowson Taylor up. I think it is worth.
Okay, Jason, who's your guy? Let's move it.
Meowson Taylor just
let's move it forward.
Just became a thing. Okay. I hope you guys haven't seen my guy, because my guy is an undrafted gem.
I feel like it's you cheating on another one of your guys.
It's an undrafted gem. What if I told you that 3 of the last 5 games he played last year, he was a top 6 wide receiver on the week. Top 6.
My wallet knows that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
because you and I had a little bet about this player.
But he plays no snaps. It's Marvin Mims Jr. Marvin Mims is a really talented player who I've been pretty out on You don't go into year 3 not, having ever played snaps, looking talented, showing flashes of brilliance, and then still never getting, he's a gadget player. He's a guy who's been used. He's literally never played more than 47% of snaps in a game ever. And so that's why he's undrafted. You can be in a deep league, he won't go drafted. However, what we saw last week in preseason is at least a glimmer of light that maybe, just maybe, the words Sean Payton has said before of we've got to get this guy on the field more could happen, which, Payton, you can. In preseason week 2, he played 16 of the 19 snaps with the starters. He left at the same time as Bo Nix. In 11 personnel, both Sutton and Mims played 11 of the 13 snaps. In 12 personnel, the Broncos used Sutton and Mims every single play except for one when my dude came in for one. Here's another undrafted gem. But, I mean, I don't know, this is preseason. This is just trying things out, see what works well. And so maybe this coming week it'll be Franklin in for every play. But if this is what happens and Mims grabs a hold of the wide receiver 2 role, I believe he is good enough to be very successful in fantasy football. He is a fast, big play machine, highly productive, collegiate profile, young breakout age, has pretty much every single thing that we look for across the board other than opportunity. So if this opportunity comes, Marvin Mims will be an important player this year.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
So I'm going to throw this out. This wasn't the player I'm going with this week, as we talked about the Colts quarterback situation, which that'll be in the news. If you didn't hear, Daniel Jones is the starter. And I was looking through ADP of just guys who were going real late. I was like, man, Michael Pittman, as much as we love Josh Downs, that's all fine and well. But it's like Michael Pittman is a good player, and he's just really being forgotten about. But I really thought it would be Richardson. So just want to throw that out that Michael Pittman, pay attention.
And Pittman he's a squeaky wheel. He really is. He's got a little bit of the diva wide receiver in him that I want.
He's paid like one.
Oh, for sure. He's paid as a true number 1 alpha wide receiver, and he demands the ball. I mean, there were quotes earlier this offseason, and I think it was Daniel Jones who was being quoted, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, where he was saying, basically, Pittman makes sure I always know where he is. He's like, that's what I want from not if I'm like the coach of the team.
Yeah.
But for fantasy
we play
football,
a different game.
We sure do.
But the player I'm going to bring up is because of a different quarterback situation that got settled. For the Cleveland Browns, I want to talk about Cedric Tillman. Just don't forget what happened in that stretch of – it was only 3 games, so it is the smallest of small samples. But Amari Cooper gets traded midseason last year, and Jameis comes in, and Cedric Tillman just goes nuclear for 3 games. 8 for 81, 7 for 99 and 2, 6 for 75 and a touchdown. And then, unfortunately, he had a concussion in Week 12, and then he was just out for the regular season. So this is just pay attention to the Cleveland Browns. We're excited that Joe Flacco is named the starting quarterback. How long will he be the guy? We don't know, but at least at the beginning of the season, the wide receivers will have more value than –
He's Winston Light. I mean, Flacco is Winston Light right now. Andy, this is you weren't in the office when I was showing this to Mike. I don't know if you remember, but 2 years ago, Flacco started 3 games for
the Jets.
For the Browns.
You're saying, okay.
For
2
the Browns.
years ago.
Yes. 2 years ago, he started 3 games for the Browns. And I was like, I wonder what his pace. I remember he threw the ball a lot. And I was like, because he had a couple starts last year.
That was the time that I won the championship because of Njoku, because of Joe Flacco.
Yeah, so his pace through the first 3 weeks that season of attempts. You want to take a guess how many attempts?
I mean, it's got to be like 700.
Yeah, that would be outrageous. It would have been 878. I mean, he's throwing the ball over 50 times a game.
Yeah, he is. I would say that like the new. Again, we're going to talk about the news and different quarterback situations. We got the news we wanted for fantasy.
Yeah,
we got the news we wanted for fantasy in multiple situations. We're not rolling the dice with unproven passers that are going to run too much for these receivers to get targets. We got guys that are going to chuck it.
So just kind of the closing argument for Tillman is like Jerry Jeudy is the player who's being drafted. Jerry Jeudy, for how long his career has been, it's been okay-ish, and then we had the second half of last year. And for 3 of those games, Cedric Tillman was also doing those things. So it's a, depending on your league format.
It makes you nervous.
Right. It makes you, but Jerry Jeudy's like, what, 6th or 7th round pick? Where's Cedric Tillman? It could be Tillman.
All the camp news about Tillman has been positive.
Yes.
If it was the opposite, like he's the perfect player to pay attention to the news because the depth chart, does Deontay Johnson take over an opportunity from him? Those type of questions, I think they've been answered. Deontay Johnson was playing in this most recent game.
Yeah, so it's just
Tillman has not been.
Tillman is going late. He will be starting on the outside, and if this team has to end up doing a Joe Flacco, let's chuck the ball in, Tillman might be the guy.
The only problem is the Browns have a good defense. I wish they didn't. That's a shame.
Yeah.
But with Deontay Johnson, we don't even know what team he plays for come week 3.
Yeah, I mean the Browns schedule-wise, they might win a game or 2.
It's
if you
tough
look at their schedule, I think you can give them between 1 and 3 wins.
On the beginning, what?
No, for the year.
Oh, wow.
No, for the year.
Wow.
That is
for
that
the
is,
year. I think if I look at that schedule
bearish.
And I'm generous to the Browns, I see 1 to 3 wins.
I think they've got too good of a defense, and the NFL has too much parity for it to be that low. But they do have a very,
Tell me
very
what
rough
you
schedule.
think. All right, that was Undrafted Gems presented by Walmart. Who knew that you could get what you need in as fast as an hour? Get free delivery on your first express delivery order with the code EXPRESS. Valid for first express delivery order, $50 minimum, subject to availability. Restrictions apply. It's time for news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The Colts have named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback. Head coach Shane Steichen came out and said he's not planning on it being a short-term arrangement. His quote was, "He's the starting quarterback for the season," Steichen said. I don't want to have a short leash on that.
The length of Steichen's season.
Steichen's season could be shorter than a full 17. But I think it's the right move. We talked about this on the show yesterday. I thought they might go Richardson because the path of the change is clean that way. If you bench Richardson now, we didn't really talk about if they made this decision. If you bench Richardson now, to me it's a full
forever.
You're done. You're done with Anthony Richardson.
You should trade him.
The experiment, it's over. And so I think that decision was made. I think this is Daniel Jones is our starter. You can debate it. I think he's a better passer. I think he's a much better quarterback.
I don't think that's fully debatable. It's just, could Anthony Richardson have gotten there? Because he needs reps. He needs practice.
Is completely fair.
And this coaching staff is like, we don't have time.
Right.
Why draft him in the top 5 then? That's the question.
Yeah, it's weird.
You can throw that on Indianapolis. If you draft a player that has almost no college experience and needs reps, and you don't give him reps, now he's been injury prone, he's been inaccurate. They obviously made a decision that goes beyond the preseason games where they were pretty even and said Daniel Jones is our guy. But my goodness, am I happy about this decision? Because
Tyler Warren's my guy for you. Of course, you're happy about this decision.
And Josh Downs, we like Josh Downs whether he's there week 1 or not. Michael Pittman. The offense, Jonathan Taylor.
I love Jonathan Taylor.
It's a huge deal for Jonathan Taylor.
Everybody.
It's great for everybody other than Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
He had standalone upside, magma potential for fantasy. But here's the thing: Daniel Jones is not in and of himself. He's not a terrible fantasy option. If he's going to start the season, if you're in a super flex league, because he was named the starter later. I mean, this is a guy that is not. He's one of the last players drafted, but he runs the ball. He's got good weapons.
4 out of believe it or not, Daniel Jones played 10 games last year, and at 4 of those games, he was a top 12 quarterback, including a top 5 finish because of what you're saying. He runs the football. I would say he definitely has more talent around him right now than he had in New York in the receiving room.
And on the offensive line.
Yeah, and with the running back. I mean, they didn't have Saquon last year, so it was Devin Singletary to start the year when Daniel Jones was quarterback. So it's not to say he's the savior of the franchise. It's going to be an uphill battle for Indianapolis, but it's very good for fantasy, unless, of course, you're a dynasty manager of Anthony Richardson, in which case he may be on the Trey Lance path at this point.
Yep, feels like it.
We did mention the breaking news yesterday. We just talked about it. Joe Flacco is going to be the week 1 starter. He had a bit of a different quote around the longevity as being the starter.
Yeah, he was asked, are you the starter for the season or until further notice? And his answer was, We all know how that works. Dude, Joe Flacco's
How old is
quotes
he?
at this age, he's 60,
45,
something like that.
He's 40 on the dot.
40 on the dot. I don't know when it was. I think like 3 years ago, he turned into the old man. I don't care, and I love it. His quotes, he's
cool.
He's so cool.
He's so cool. Joe Flacco's cool.
I love him.
You see David Njoku's joy in Flacco being the starter?
I felt so much happiness and relief. Like, I felt the weight off David Njoku's shoulders. He was clearly so afraid it was going to be Kenny Pickett, and he couldn't say that because it could have been Kenny Pickett, and that would have been his quarterback, and he would support him, of course. But when Flacco got named the starter, he's like,
4.
Flacco, yes!
They're going to keep 4 on the roster,
which is
supposedly.
wild.
Which I don't think a team has done in a really, really long time.
That does go a little bit towards your prediction of not winning a lot of games, because those quarterbacks don't help them on the roster. They take up roster spots from other players who it seems like they need.
Their weird situation is that they didn't spend top draft capital on Gabriel or Sanders. And then Kenny Pickett's certainly not the future. So if you end up with 1 to 3 wins, or their Vegas line 5.5, you're in the running for the number 1, number 2, number 3 pick again. And that should be on the table for you. If you didn't spend high draft capital on a quarterback, it's going to be tough for Cleveland, but they do have a great defense. The Commanders, Terry McLaurin, Brian Robinson Jr., they were not in attendance to last night's game. So not only not playing, but not even in attendance. Brian Robinson is counting down the days, hanging up the for sale sign on his house.
Yeah.
He does not seem like he will be a piece of the Commanders' offense.
He will be a piece of someone's offense. He's a good enough
I'm
running
afraid
back.
of him right now.
Right. He could ruin a lot of situations.
You hear the Texans, right? Like if he goes to the Texans, it is a death knell for Mixon. It is basically saying
for everyone. I wouldn't want Robinson. I wouldn't want Mixon, Chubb. No.
But it would be like saying Mixon's injury is
they would
severe.
be admitting it.
So and then Chicago, it gets brought up, right? And then like what in the world do you do in Chicago with that ensemble?
That would be awful. I think the
Cincinnati's been brought up. I mean, that would be a
man.
That would be a problem.
It would, I think, surface level, but overall, I wouldn't be overly concerned about Chase Brown.
It would certainly hurt Chase Brown's total volume without a doubt. I think the best landing spot where a team needs him is the Dolphins. They desperately need a larger back, a goal line guy, a short yardage back to mix it with Devon Achane. And I'm kind of the same way that you are with Chase. If he were to go there, I don't think that kills Devon Achane. It certainly eats into his opportunities, but it doesn't make him, a terrible fantasy asset.
So because of the absence of Brian Robinson, we got Chris Rodriguez starting
people
for Washington.
We need to talk about it.
But everybody was paying attention to Bill.
Twitter.
Krosky.
Lost its mind. They're watching the game last night and in the snaps and the running backs. So it's Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, who we're talking about, the 7th-round rookie for the Washington Commanders.
Goes by Bill.
He goes by Bill. Now, what can we take away from last night's game? Jaden Daniels played 4 snaps. Chris Rodriguez played those 4 snaps. So as of that moment in time, Rodriguez is ahead of Bill on the depth chart. And my biggest takeaway watching that game last night was Jerome Ford is in play in week 1 for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, you're saying because
they're playing the Cincinnati Bengals. And there was a point where Bengals were giving up like 20 yards per rush to the team.
Here's when you talk about Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, who's the player that everybody's all excited about, final running back taken in the draft. First of all, his story's insane because if you know the actual, he didn't play in Power 4, Power 5 conferences until he played in New Mexico, which was a bad team, was amazing for that
dominated.
Team. But if you know what happened is he transferred to Arizona, he played one game, dominated his old team, and then was ruled ineligible to play because he had a 6th year of eligibility that was taken away. It came down to some controversy about him giving his jersey to a different player and losing eligibility because that player played with his jersey, all this crazy stuff. But his actual numbers, his metrics were high percentile numbers.
For the New Mexico year, yes.
For New Mexico, in just terms of some of the raw talent and ability. But here's my bigger point is that you can buy into the hype, you cannot buy into the hype. You can talk about how many 7th-round running backs succeed, how many don't. the point is, Chris Rodriguez and Austin Eckler or Jeremy McNichols are not the reason Brian Robinson is going to be let go. They don't make that decision because of those players. They make that decision
I can agree with that.
because of Bill.
Yeah.
Who?
Bill. That is an actual, we held a microphone up to Twitter.
Dude,
that is what it sounds like on Twitter.
Twitter was very fun last night.
That is why it can be, you can pick up a Chris Rodriguez in a dynasty league. You can pick up some other players and hope that it works out.
Rodriguez numbers last year, like his advanced analytics are good.
They could perform, but I don't think your upside exists for those guys the same way it would with Bill. So take it for what you will. I think this is an indictment on Brian Robinson is not needed.
Right.
Because they have these other players.
I'm guessing behind the scenes, this hasn't come out yet, but I'm sure it will, that Brian Robinson is kind of spearheading a lot of this. He wants more work. He wants, more respect within that room. They don't need him. They're not going to give him bell cow usage. They're not going to pay him, an extension. And so it's as much him as it is the team. It's not just a team being like, we hate Brian Robinson because we've got Bill.
He doesn't want a little role on the team.
Exactly. And so it's like, well, we don't need you. I will say I don't disagree with what you're saying, that Bill is the reason that maybe you now have a running back room that really does not need Brian Robinson. But as of right now, Bill is third on the depth chart. And while he did have a very nice 29-yard rushing touchdown last night, I mean, I couldn't have scored that, but that was
you would have gotten 15.
I would have got 15. Austin Eckler is, to me, the value here. He was good last year. He was
on a per touch basis.
Really good on a per touch basis. Had a lot of fantasy finishes as a top 24 back.
Watch out for
Got hurt.
Whooping cough.
That's not good.
But he's the starter here. And I think he's still talented. And he'll be drafted so much behind. Like, the crazy thing is right now on the depth chart, Bill's third. Would you agree with that?
Currently.
Yeah.
Right. Just week one.
Yeah, I view him second, but go ahead.
So week one, I think officially he will run behind Chris Rodriguez, behind Austin Eckler. He will be drafted first in fantasy drafts.
He won't get
next
ahead
weekend.
of Eckler?
Oh,
I think
he will.
Well, that's stupid.
Dude,
I think he will.
That's my point. Is I think he's going
right.
to be drafted at a stupid spot.
Well, we got more news to talk about. We're going to have to take a break. We'll talk about the rest of the news and then get into breakouts. Foot Clan draft day is on the way. You got your rankings, you got those sleepers, you got your can't miss picks, but you know what? You need sometimes a backup because, well, even the best fantasy football team in the world doesn't go according to plan. Sometimes those starters, they don't show up. Wouldn't it be great if you could have the same peace of mind everywhere else? With Progressive, you get more than just a policy. You get a playbook full of coverage options you can count on for your home and for your auto. Want to customize your protection? No problem. You can build your coverage just like your fantasy team, making sure that you have the right players in every position and a backup when you need it most. And when life throws an audible like a fumble in the driveway or a hailstorm at home, Progressive is there with 24/7 support. Don't get caught without a great backup. Visit Progressive.com to quote today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. Head coach Mike McDaniel talking about Devon Achane. We got it revealed. It was a calf, so he's unlikely to practice next week. You don't want calf. No. You don't want hammy.
No.
You're okay with the groin because you can get back a little quicker. But
the calf, man, there was another running back last year with a calf issue.
Yeah,
who was that?
Yeah,
Christian McCaffrey. I really hated when I heard it was calf. I was like, no, for a small, speedy guy.
Would you have preferred calf or hamstring? Because we already knew it was a soft tissue lower body.
Well, I would have preferred groin. Doesn't groin still count there?
Yeah, okay, it does.
Yeah. I mean, the groin's up higher. That's
not
lower body.
It's the top of the lower body.
Yeah, it's the top of the lower body.
Lower?
Yeah.
For sure, that's
it's
not
mid.
No.
What?
It's the low part of the mid.
Mid would be like oblique.
It's the low part of the mid.
No. Oh, the mid has got to be
once you get to the hip bones,
abs.
you're in lower body.
Yeah.
You're almost adjacent to hip bones.
You're adjacent lower. I mean, you're at the top of the bottom. This is definitely a lower body.
I'd rather have groin.
You're saying your groin isn't lower body.
I'm saying your groin it's low to mid.
Okay. Wait 10 years. Okay.
Oh, I don't have to wait long. All right. But this is bad. This is bad, and you start to put Ollie Gordon into kind of a sleeper category for the Dolphins, and you also have to up the risk rating and worry a little bit about Achane, who has top 5 potential, but you don't want him to miss time, and you don't want him to battle, what was it? Like his rookie season, how many – didn't he miss multiple –
He did.
So he only played 11 games in 2023 his rookie season,
He
but the problem was missing 3 separate times.
Yeah.
Different injuries.
Knee –
that was always the worry. I mean, it is always the worry with an undersized back. Like there's a smidge of Bucky Irving worry for me when you've got a guy who's actually getting massive workload. If you've got a 200-pound, sub 200-pound running back that is going to try to go out there and touch the ball 300 times, 275 times, it's physically difficult to do that over the course of 17 games.
Yeah. So not exciting news heading into the season. Teteroa McMillan, my guy for Mike.
Yeah.
Teteroa my guy, hamstring injury.
Don't love it.
Might not play in the preseason game. Hopefully he can get back. Jalen McMillan, it's a severely sprained neck. He will miss some time. Not going to be ready for the season opener. You have Godwin on the pup, McMillan with a neck injury.
Likely to be on the pup, but yes.
You have Cade Otton, who's just returning with a hamstring injury. Now, that's a beneficiary, right? If you don't have Godwin and McMillan, Cade Otton was a phenom for several weeks last year.
He was.
Rashad White still dealing with the groin injury, and they don't have their left tackle. So injuries, not great situation for Tampa. Sean McVay said they'll continue to take things a day at a time with Stafford.
Tell us more.
Actually, I can, because one of the quotes, it made no sense to me. You can explain it. They said something about his back being upright for week 1. That's what the hope was. They're hoping his back was upright. I've never heard that expression before.
As opposed to
laying down. They don't want him laying down in week 1, Mike.
I don't think any football player wants
like
that.
a pre-sack.
Yeah, he's
he on the bench. He's taking.
He lays down. That's how he takes the snap.
I mean,
he can still throw it. He's got great arm strength.
There are people out there, and I am not one of them now. But there are people out there that think that the Matthew Stafford back injury is more severe than the Rams even knew. And there are people taking Puka and Devontae Adams basically off their draft board because moving them down means you don't get them, right? So it's like if you're not willing to take them anywhere near their ADP,
if you say,
they're off the board.
If I'd take Puka in the 3rd, well, you can't.
Right. So that is it did make me nervous. I was in a draft yesterday. Second round. Late second round, Puka's sitting there.
Late second.
I took him.
Oh, okay, I was going to say late seconds where
I took him, but it did make me like my finger held above the mouse.
Man, I'd pull the trigger there. I would.
I did.
And it feels like it could be a trap.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he will be not productive if Stafford misses, but he won't be Puka.
Right.
He'll be Puka light.
Mm-hmm.
That will make me sad. And then Quinshon Judkins still hasn't reached a deal with the Browns. There's a chance that we need to see the disciplinary process in the NFL take place before Judkins signs a deal with the Browns, which could happen. So, there's leverage being played there, but Judkins not going to be on the field.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there has to be contractual implications of this, of if you go before you've even signed and you're suspended for a character issue, I'm sure that then the Browns lawyers are going to put a whole bunch of things in that to protect the team.
Groin muscles and adductors, both considered lower body muscles.
Yeah, because
I agree that they're lower body.
If a
obviously.
Boxer hits someone in the groin, they've gone
low.
Lower body.
It's just not.
They're not like, oh, we hit him in the mid body.
No. You're right. I'm arguing to argue. All right, that was News and Notes, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms, limits, and conditions. It's time.
Breakouts.
All right, how would you define a breakout to a fantasy football player out there? What is your definition?
I think the easiest way to understand a breakout is that next year this player will be drafted many rounds ahead of where they're being drafted this year. I mean,
they'll be drafted to be a starter.
Yeah, exactly. A starter or a star, depending on where they're currently being drafted. But breakout means they will not be anywhere near where you're drafting them next year.
So we have consensus breakouts sleepers, values, busts, all in the UDK, players that we've agreed upon. We have our My Guys. We've mentioned them recently, but a breakout candidate individually that we both see with a path forward. That's the opportunity today to share those names. I'm going to let Jason kick us off if he's willing and able.
I am not.
Okay. Well,
I'll
go for it.
Pass.
By the way, both of you,
No, I'm good.
your recovery counts.
Oh yeah.
Your recoveries, you're present.
Yeah, I feel like a human today. Yesterday,
Yesterday.
off the back of that travel weekend and wedding time, I was hollow inside, and so today I'm back. Mine is second year wide receiver, a first round NFL draft pick. Those are usually things that automatically mean the next year the player is drafted very high. I'm talking about 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall. This is a player that I liked as a prospect coming in. I think he's got exceptional hands. He's got enough speed, good route running. Now, we don't know how his rookie season would have gone if he didn't get shot in the chest.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't be alive. I mean, he was an inch away from death. And then he
was a beast.
He still got back on the field in week 7. Didn't do a ton last year, but he did have a few flashes. Week 10, 4 for 73 and a touchdown. At the end of the year, he really flashed the exciting upside. 8 for 141-1 on 10 targets against Detroit, and 6 for a nice 69-1 on 8 targets in week 18 at Arizona. So this is a guy who it's like, okay, we saw some examples on the field of him being able to dominate an NFL game as a rookie who's a first-round draft pick. It's what he's supposed to do. And then you look around the team, and you're like, okay, well, Brandon Ayuk is not ready. Deebo Samuel is gone, which we didn't bring Deebo up, but he actually looked there's very little to see, but he looked like Deebo to me last night. Anyways,
We'll see how long that gas tank lasts.
I
Sure.
do. I think Debo's being stupidly ignored right now.
I'm starting to believe that as well. But you have Jennings currently injured. The whole wide receiver team, other than Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and Ricky Pearsall, are injured. So get those 3 players. This is a team that is projected to score, I think, like the 3rd most points, according to Vegas, in the league. They're a 10.5 win expectation. Their schedule is super easy. Brock Purdy's good. Brock Purdy got paid. And Ricky Pearsall should be the number 1 wide receiver for this team, and he doesn't cost you that much.
It's one thing to say that a player has opportunity and is being underdrafted or undervalued. It's another to have the talent level that Pearsall has and still, like, not every player with opportunity has ceiling, and Pearsall has ceiling.
Yes.
He can be the most dominant player on that roster for years to come.
Ironically, despite missing half of his year and not being that involved, he had 3 games of 15 or more fantasy points. The list of rookie wide receivers with 3 games of 15-plus fantasy point games that in the second half of the season, it's all great other than Christian Watson. I mean, it's Tyreek Hill, Juju, Debo, A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Ayuk, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, and then Christian Watson. So Pearsall's in good company with what he was able to do in limited action, and his opportunity is like it's gonna be really telling if he doesn't do good. Maybe he's stinking.
No, he's going to be great, and there's huge opportunity there. That team was being ignored. You didn't see those performances because they were a bad team. So the end of the year, they were not relevant. Mm-hmm. So you missed Pearsall's breakout. That is why his ADP is where it's at. Now,
where
Mike,
is his ADP?
His ADP right now is the wide receiver 43 in the 9th round.
Oh, baby.
10th round on ESPN, 9th round on Yahoo. And so definitely undervalued, definitely a great breakout pick, a perfect breakout pick.
I feel like I want to play on ESPN again. Because every player that I like, their ADP on ESPN is just ruinedly low.
That's not a word.
Nah, I'm sticking with it. I like it.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Mike didn't even blink. All right, Mike, you've got a breakout candidate. What's his name?
I'm going with Tucker Kraft, tight end for the Green Bay Packers, as my personal breakout pick. Last year, like, it's the trends. You have to, remember the whole story of Luke Musgrave, drafted before Tucker Kraft, he felt like, okay, well, draft order says he's supposed to be the guy for the Green Bay Packers, and Luke was the guy, the rookie year, and then he gets hurt going into year 2, and Tucker Kraft kind of just takes over. But it was snap count wise immediately apparent. No, Tucker Kraft has played his way into being the receiving tight end for the Green Bay Packers. Last year, 700 yards, 7 touchdowns. And in year 2, I've talked about an ADP study I've done where tight ends who break out in year 2, they return on a high percentage of their ADP in year 3. And right now, Tucker Kraft is going into this year, he's the only one who fits that criteria for me. So I already liked him because of that. Like, historically, the percentage chance is there. And I put this in here, and Kyle's helping, dig up some goodness. And it's like, okay, tight ends since the year 2000 that put up 707 in year 2. And the list it's Antonio Gates, Chris Cooley, Jimmy Graham, Mark Andrews. Like, all these guys who hit those numbers, and look, a lot of them massively outplayed what Tucker Kraft did. I'm not comparing him to Graham or Gronk, but just saying the trajectory. The players who did that, the 707 the next year, all of them were at least top 6 in year 3. And Tucker Kraft, watching him be just a yards after catch machine last year, 8.8 yards after catch, 2 yards higher than the next qualified tight end. And we had some fun debates about Tucker Kraft, about how easy were they, and then we went back and watched those big touchdowns. It's like, no, Tucker Kraft is putting bodies in the ground, and he's fast, he's big, he's tough. We look at the wide receiver room for the Green Bay Packers, and they spent a first on Matthew Golden. There's some debate, draft Twitter had huge debates of, does Matthew Golden belong there because where his profile is he just more of a better help for Jordan Love? Can Matthew Golden make that jump? But then the wide receiver room it's talked about all the time because there's no true standout yet. We all have our favorite guys in the room, but I don't think any of us look at it and go, yep, that's a number 1 fantasy football option. If Jaden Reed's your guy, that's fine, a great player, but fantasy-wise, Jaden Reed, other than a couple weeks last year, was actually harmful for your fantasy football team. And I think that there is a chance that Tucker Kraft takes the role of being like maybe the number 2 option in this. Double-digit touchdowns are in the range of outcome for the way that Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have played historically. I think he is a great upside shot towards the double-digit rounds. He's outside of that range, where we don't like to spend the draft capital on the tight end because historically rounds 5 through 7, they just don't pay off. But I like Tucker Kraft as someone who can break into the top 6 and maybe even make a little bit more noise.
I think his talent is undeniable. I think he's a really good tight end. I did notice in the preseason when Jordan Love was out there getting reps, a really nice, it was an incompletion, but a deep seam route to Luke Musgrave in the middle of that game. So just remembering that he's back there out on the field. Musgrave will not take Kraft's, the majority of his passing game work, but it was a reminder that there's some other players in the mix. I think Kraft is undervalued. He's in that tier of tight end, though, where I think, 5 touchdowns, you're not happy. 8 touchdowns, you're super happy. I think,
sure.
Sadly, there are certain tight ends that just fit that role of like, if the touchdowns go their way, you're gonna be thrilled with the season. There's a bunch of guys in that 4 or 5, you're not happy. 7 or 8, you're super happy.
To be honest, that's the vast majority of all tight ends. I mean, once you're past the top 3, it's like who's gonna be good? Well, who ends up getting 8 touchdowns? And if you want to make a bet on that, Kraft seems like a decent bet. I've come around quite a bit because I know
that's interesting.
To start this offseason, I was not bullish on Kraft. I felt like this too many wide receivers, too many other ways to score, another tight end. But I think as I've dug deeper, watched film again, Kraft himself is a really good weapon, and this is a good offense. So if you want to say who could get 7 or 8 touchdowns, you look at Sam Laporta. He's a good player on a good offense. He's not the number 1 target. You've got Amon-Ra St. Brown there. You've got Jamison Williams. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield. It's not easy for Laporta to go out there and be the number 1 tight end again, but we know He could, because he could get a bunch of touchdowns. I see that somewhat similarly for a, when I'm doing my late round targets, I just want who could be good, who could have upside there, and there's not a lot of them.
All right, we will take a quick break. By the way, I've got my breakout candidate still to reveal, and then we polled the Foot Clan over on our Foot Clan Discord and got some of their favorite breakout picks we'll share with you as well.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Viore. Whether you're heading to the gym, running errands, or just lounging at home, Viore has you covered. Let's talk about the Sunday Performance Jogger. It's part of the Sunday collection. It's everyone's favorite jogger. It's a fresh take on athleisure, and it's a staple in your wardrobe. The fit is flattering, and thanks to the soft, lightweight four-way performance stretch, it moves with you, no restriction. Viore offers a new perspective on performance apparel, made to work out in, but also stylish and comfortable enough to wear all day. And the best part, shopping is easy. Finding what you need on the website takes no time. I know they want me to talk about the joggers, but you know what I want to talk about? The shorts. I love my Viore shorts. I have them on right now. I have, I think, 8 pairs of them. Look, they look great. They fit great. They're comfortable. They got the liner in the shorts, and it's the perfect liner. Look, I wear them to work out. I wear them to lounge. Hey, look, if my kids are in the pool and I got them on, I'm going to jump in the pool. Just like, this is good enough. These are fantastic. I really, truly love and endorse those Viore shorts. And Viore is an investment in your happiness. For our listeners, they're offering 20% off your first purchase. Get yourself some of the most comfortable and versatile clothing on the planet at viore.com/footballers. That's VUORI.com/footballers. Exclusions apply. Visit the website for full terms and conditions.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. These days, it feels like there's advice for everything. We talk about this all the time. You look at the reels and all the social media. You got the cold plunges, gratitude journals, screen detoxes. But the problem is you don't know what actually works. And the internet is full of information overload about mental health, about wellness, and it's hard to know what will actually make a difference, what's true. And so you got to take action, but you don't know how. You want to use trusted resources, and BetterHelp has live therapists that can get you personalized recommendations and help you break through all of that noise. With over 30,000 therapists worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it's very convenient. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, and you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/footballers. That's betterhelp.com/footballers. All right. Well, we found a spot for this guy. I think he has received a lot of buzz and optimism and excitement. And
I think he's such an interesting player, especially of the ADP. I think is still slightly depressed, as in like this was a player I figured people would just be guns blazing. You're like just real hot and bothered to get him, and the ADP is not it.
And you still don't know who that player is out there, so I'm never going to tell you. But you should get him.
Get him based off of this.
Here's a hint. He's the wide receiver 35 by ADP on Sleeper.
There you go.
Yeah, go look it up. All right, that's it for today's show. No, it's Rome Odunze, second-year sophomore wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. You just mentioned it. Wide receiver 35 off the board, 8th-round pick in all leagues, pretty much, maybe 7th round in Sleeper. Last year, this was, I think the focal point here, part of the argument for Rome Odunze is he might have done the best he could do in light of the circumstances around him. With the performance of Caleb Williams, the fact that this was one of the worst offenses by way of play calling in the entire NFL. I mean, they were dead last in EPA on first downs, constantly put themselves into horrible down and distance situations. Rome did not have the season that people hoped from a top 10 pick. He was the wide receiver 47. He was kind of like Marvin Harrison Light in terms of like he was out there a lot. He had over 100 targets. That's very rare for a rookie to do. but it was 54 for 734 and 3, and Keenan Allen dominated targets. DJ Moore was there. You had, just so many problems on the offensive side of the football. So he was a disappointment last year. But I think this is the year that Rome Odunze makes it happen. And part of that is, Ben Johnson's coming in. Yes, the Bears have won the preseason again. It's great. And they looked good in the last preseason game. But, Keenan Allen has departed. He was a target monster for this roster. And this is a perfect situation for Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze to grow up together with this Ben Johnson situation. And one of the things that has stood out to me this offseason, when you pay attention to what's happening at camp, these two are it's a dynamic connection every day in camp. Like these two players, the red zone, Rome Odunze is a true alpha type of wide receiver. And, a lot of the talk from the beat writers out there in Chicago, Greg Braggs came out and talked about this, basically saying, look, they're trying to figure out how DJ Moore even fits in the system right now. Like Mike has been vocal about Luther Burden.
Mm-hmm.
That's a player picked by, this head coach.
Second-round pick.
They have Rome Odunze, who their head coach, Ben Johnson, has come out and talked so much about. And DJ Moore is sitting here getting backfield carries all the time. And we talked about DJ Moore in the short area targets. Like, he does not necessarily fit this offense the way that Rome Odunze does. Braggs also came out and said it's becoming very clear that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze are going to be a deadly duo in their second season. Those are the players making the headlines all the time. Honestly, we have not talked about DJ Moore that much. There have not been a lot of, camp reports around DJ Moore. We know he's a great player, but I don't think that the future of this team is going to be built around DJ Moore. It's around Loveland, Burden, and Odunze. There is no Keenan Allen. I think you can see a significant tier jump for him. And when you look at, if you're a top 10 pick at wide receiver and you get over 100 targets as a rookie, 75% of those guys historically end up top 24 in year 2. So your odds are pretty good. There have been a couple, I think it was like Drake London and Garrett Wilson actually, that didn't do it in the last decade. And those are still players that eventually did it. So it's like 100 targets, top 10 pick, very good recipe for bounce back. Very good recipe for success. And look,
and a good player.
And a really good player.
He is legitimately good. There was nothing on film of his doing that you were like, oh, man, I'm not sure about that rookie season.
So, yeah, I think Rome is set up for a tremendous amount of success this year. If this offense moves the needle at all, if it gets to the middle of the pack, I'm really excited.
Caleb. We need you. Please be good.
I was... like I said, I was very surprised that the ADP is held for Rome. I was pretty prepared going through the offseason process to just be 100% out on Rome. Not that I don't see the path for it, just with all in that path, there's so many options for everything to go. But with the way the news, Andy, trended on DJ Moore and the ADP, the upside case is tremendous. And when you're in the 7th, I don't want safety in the 7th round. I want a player who could, if things break right, that guy could end up in the top 20. And so I'm still behind ADP on my projection, but I have no problem with that with the draft pick. I thought he was going to go in the 5th, and I was going to be super out, but this is fine.
So Rome Odunze is 23 years old. Colston Loveland's 21 years old. Luther Burden, who looks great. I loved his college
16
tape.
years old.
He's not. He's actually 21 as well.
Oh, okay.
But next year, you think about the transition of this team. Next year, DJ Moore will be 29.
I don't know how
He'll be 29 years old.
They have to trade him because his contract is
they're not getting out of that.
No, and
very lucrative.
It's gonna make some.
He signed at the
complications.
right time.
Yeah, I mean there may be a way out. Maybe it's be a trade. We did poll the Foot Clan over at Foot Clan Discord on the Discord channel, which Papa Josh, he helps run the Discord. He's over here in Deucer's Alley. And we've got, 60,000 folks?
We're over 60K now.
Nice.
So you can go join it. It's free. You can join the Discord server. But we got the most popular breakout answers to hear from the Foot Clan. Number 1 by far was Ricky Pearsall.
Smart people.
Marvin Harrison Jr. was another big name.
Okay.
That one is, I think that's fair. It's like the Rome conversation.
It's like the Caleb conversation. Please, Marvin,
yes.
Be good.
Yeah, come on, Kyler. Drake May.
Yeah,
big name.
I agree with that a lot.
Emeka Egbuka, of course, and Amarian Hampton, a couple more rookie breakout picks. In fact, more and more this offseason, I just, when you look back on 2025 and you say, what's the lesson we learned? I do think it will be a tale of rookies this year. Some people I saw were making comments about we had more rookies than normal in our My Guys. And it's
we did.
We've had 100 my guys in 11 years, and this was the most rookies we've ever had in there. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to give you the best players to draft. Like, we're not paying attention to how many years they've played. It's the best player for this year in accordance to draft position, and rookies get discounted. This year in particular, there's talent we believe in in the rookie position.
And the rookie running back class this year was especially good. I mean, we knew about that 2 years ago, that last year was a weak rookie running back class, and this year would be good. And then they ended up going to situations that are advantageous. In the Ultimate Draft Kit, we've got our breakouts. A lot of them are rookie running backs, and it's like we had the conversation like, can we have another rookie? It's like, well, we just want to get it right. We want to give you the best picks, and it seems like this year. I agree with you, Andy. It's going to be a lot of the rookies.
Yeah, there's some rookies we just really believe in, the opportunity, the talent, the draft capital, all of the math equations, and they get discounted in drafts sometimes, and we'll see how that looks on draft day with Travion Henderson and some of these players shooting up the board. But there's still some guys that are going to stay really, really low in drafts. So we've got sleepers, values, bust shows coming up. We've got a Superflex mock draft episode.
Oh,
for
man.
the Superflex people. Mike,
Superflex
I'm looking at Mike. He's like,
bros are so excited.
I can't wait.
He's like, are we doing that?
I can't wait to see how late I can take my quarterbacks.
Oh, baby.
He's only going to take one.
He still takes one.
Yeah, it's just, guys, it's not two
Superflex,
quarterbacks. It's
super
Superflex.
yeah.
We've got a bold predictions episode coming up. We've got an MVP episode coming up. And let's make sure we make that announcement again, Jason. Go ahead.
The MEGALABOWL is here, baby.
It's back,
MEGALABOWL.com. Go sign up right now. Pick your draft slot.
And we're playing. We'll be
I'm
in
absolutely
there.
playing. I'm not telling you which time slot I'm in, but I'm already signed up.
Yeah, so please join
Maybe you'll be in our league.
the MEGALABOWL this year. All the details at megalabowl.com. That'll do it for today's show, but we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, for listening. Make sure you follow, subscribe. This is the time of year to get ready to rumble. Your drafts are around the corner this upcoming weekend. Biggest draft weekend of them all.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.